The conflict in Gaza continues, as you know, but we're staying with immigration. This is an immigration angle. Listen to this. DFAT has revealed, this is Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, that the federal government has so far helped 207 Australian citizens, permanent residents, and others get their family members out of the region. We've also heard the department has granted over 2,000 visitor visas and 148 migration and temporary visas to people with a Palestinian citizenship. So far, just over 300 have landed here in Australia. Dr David Adler is president of the Australian Jewish Association, and he joins me now. David, welcome.
Thank you.
I guess my concern here, these people are coming out of a conflict zone. Most, we're told, are in the Gaza region or other areas occupied by the Palestinian Authority. 2,000 of them plus. We know we don't have consular officials in Gaza. So how confident can we be that we're doing all the proper security checks on these people before they get a visa?
Peter, thank you for looking at this issue. And let me put it in perspective. A little while ago, you were talking about border security and the boats that have arrived. This is the equivalent of over 50 boats. That's the scale of it. It is extraordinary. It actually dwarfs the current boat issue. It is inconceivable that security screening was done adequately. And one of the things we learnt from Senate estimates, and I want to give credit to two Liberal senators, James Paterson and Claire Chandler, who in their questioning were able to extract information that was not previously exposed to the public. We learnt that many of these visas have been processed in 24 hours, or perhaps even less.
Wow.
Visitor visas, in inverted commas, and once they get here, potentially have access to publicly funded legal aid, to apply for asylum and other measures. I have no doubt at all that amongst the cohort, and we know from surveys that something like 75% of that particular population have supported the actions of Hamas. Amongst that cohort that we are importing into Australia, there will be Hamas supporters. There are very likely to be Hamas members. There could be Hamas operatives. And for all we know, there may well be people who assisted in an active way the terrorist attack of 7th of October. The first wave of people from Gaza into Israel were the Hamas military, but they were followed very rapidly by citizens who joined in with the looting and other activities. It is inconceivable that we've been able to screen out such people.
And of course, history shows, David, that there's often a push after these terror events to get the senior militants out or those connected to them into safer ground so that they can then do their worst and their damage all over again, that they want to preserve their operatives and basically make the ordinary citizen, the human fodder or the cannon fodder.
One further observation worth making, Peter, is that none of the Arab Muslim countries are taking these people. Not Egypt, not Lebanon, not Syria, not Jordan, or the others in the Middle East. Perhaps they are more aware of the security risks than bureaucrats in Australia.
David, and I remember going back and looking at this when it was announced by Penny Wong just after the atrocities that they would take people out of the Palestine areas. They were online applications, and she made the point that they've got no consular officials to do the necessary checks in Gaza. Do you know if it's still an online application? Because that also is something you can drive a truck through.
Not only is it online, but there are groups in Australia assisting the application and talking about it on social media groups. So there are already activists assisting in the process of bringing people from Gaza to Australia.
All right, well, let's assume many of these people have good intentions and are good people, but let's assume there's some bad eggs in all of these 2,000 coming here. We already know, particularly in parts of New South Wales, we've got some problems in mosques. We also saw a lot of people raised in Australia screaming out their hate on the forecourt of the Opera House not so long ago. How concerned are you to hear today that there's only 2 convictions made under the New South Wales hate speech laws, and both could be soon overturned? People are saying that these laws are inoperable. How is it that we've got so many hate preachers in this country? They're allowed to get out there and spew their venom at a mosque. But I think worse than that, these lectures also go up online. They're spread far and wide, David, and there appears to be absolutely no consequences.
You're right. And we do have existing laws concerning incitement of violence. And if you're advocating the slaughter of Jews, for example, in a mosque, you would have thought that easily crosses the line. I actually think the more that I look at it, we don't so much have a problem with the law as we have a problem with the law enforcement. And we've seen differentials in the way the law is applied in a range of related activities. We saw a group of neo-Nazis on their way to the city on Australia Day. They were stopped by New South Wales riot police so they can act. But then the Opera House example, it was the Jewish people who were told to stay away and the city was essentially handed over to the mob. So there are numerous other examples of what appears to be differential application of the law, and I think that's something that we need to consider and look at and wonder if there might be some sort of political oversight that is lacking, or instruction to the police.
Will, David, I think it's political will.
Yeah.
All right, we'll leave it there. Thank you. Thank you for your concern. I share it with you tonight. 2,000 visas granted to those with Palestinian citizenship or identifying as Palestinian, and I am concerned we don't have enough checks done on those people.